Imagine, you are standing on the edge of a cliff. Below you lies an abyss deep and endless. Above you, the sky stretches infinitely. With just one step, you could plunge into darkness or soar into freedom. What will you do? Is it an act of madness or a leap of greatness? This is the very essence of the fool. But wait, who is the fool really? Are they merely fearless souls blind to consequences? Or perhaps, those we call fools are actually geniuses the world has yet to understand? Are they truly foolish? Or are we the ones failing to see the truth? Let's explore the psychology of the fool and discover why. Sometimes being a fool is the wisest thing you can do. Centuries ago, the image of the fool appeared across various cultures and belief systems. In the tarot, this card is not just a symbol of beginnings, but a reminder that sometimes stepping into the unknown is the only way to discover greatness. But the fool is not confined to tarot. In Shakespeare's plays, they take the form of jesters, seemingly there for amusement, yet often the only ones bold enough to speak the truths no one else dares to admit. They are not fools, but those who see truth in a world full of deception. What's fascinating is that the fool is not just a figure in art. In the real world, many of history's greatest minds were once considered fools. Nikola Tesla, the man who brought us alternating current, was called a madman. They laughed at him. Yet it was his so-called madness that gave us the electric light that illuminates our world today. Albert Einstein, the physicist who reshaped our understanding of the universe, was once seen as a slow child. So as how many visionaries throughout history were dismissed as crazy, only to be proven geniuses? And if you too are walking a path no one understands, will you dare to keep going? We often think of the fool as someone reckless, someone who doesn't think things through. But why do these very people sometimes succeed? Why are there those who dare to do what no one else will and end up changing the world? Psychology suggests that the fool does not fear the way most people do. They are not bound by rigid logic. They are willing to step outside the norm, to take risks, to experiment with ideas that others dismiss as madness. There is a phenomenon called fool's courage, the bravery of the fool. When you do not fear failure, you dare to attempt what others would never try. This confidence, though often mistaken for recklessness, can sometimes open doors to incredible possibilities. Another concept is beginner's mind, the mindset of a novice. When you approach a problem as if you know nothing, you are not limited by old rules. You can see things from a completely different perspective, and this often leads to the most creative solutions. While others hesitate, analyze, and seek safety, the fool jumps into reality, experiments, fails, and ultimately succeeds. Take Steve Jobs, for example, a man who dropped out of college to chase an idea no one believed in. When he said that every person would own a personal computer, the world laughed. But he didn't care. He followed his path, and Apple was born. Or Elon Musk, a man who was once called crazy for wanting to send humans to Mars. Many mocked him, saying it was nothing more than a fantasy. But look at what's happening now. Today, SpaceX is achieving things that once only existed in science fiction. These fools did not let fear stop them. They did not allow criticism to hold them back. And that is why they achieved the impossible. So the question is, if you want to do something different, are you willing to become the fool? We have talked about geniuses who were once seen as the fool. We have mentioned the courage it takes to step out of one's comfort zone. But is that always the case? Does stepping into the unknown always lead to a good outcome? Imagine a person standing on the edge of a cliff, but this time they have no plan, no direction, nothing to ensure a safe landing. They do not step forward with the confidence of someone who has prepared. They step forward with the naivety of someone who does not recognize the danger awaiting them. Being the fool is not always a good thing. Sometimes ignorance leads to disaster. Some people mistake courage for recklessness, creativity for delusion. They believe that simply having faith is enough. They think that jumping without calculating the risks is a form of freedom. But what is the reality? There is no guarantee that below them lies a field of flowers. Sometimes only an abyss awaits. But that is not the only danger. There is another risk that the fool often faces: being manipulated, because a person who steps into the unknown without question is also the easiest to control. History has seen countless people led by cunning minds, by those who exploit their trust. those who believe in someone completely without asking questions, those who follow an ideal without ever verifying if it is truly right. So the question is, how do you know when you are a courageous fool, and when you are merely a naive one? How do you walk your own path without becoming a puppet in someone else's hands? Because the line between genius and madness, between the fool and the brave, has never been so thin. Have you ever stepped out of your comfort zone? Have you ever been called crazy or foolish just because you dared to do something others were afraid of? And most importantly, have you ever realized that sometimes those foolish moments ended up changing your life in the most unexpected way? Share your story in the comments. Have you ever acted like a fool and achieved something surprising? Or have you ever seen someone being underestimated only for them to prove everyone wrong? I want to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video interesting, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you think has a fool hidden inside them. Because maybe the world needs more fools than we think.